What up, peeps? KG Drifty's in the building, and in today's video, I'm here to bring you guys a Black Ops 3 best class setup video, and we're going to be talking about the FFAR, aka the FAMAS. Now, previously, I did a video on this a while back, but it was on S&D, and it was the best class setup if you want to have fun with it. So, for the people who are new to my channel or the people who have not seen it, make sure you check it out. It will be in the description below, and on top of that, it will be in the annotations above. Now, without further ado, we're going to jump straight into the video. Now, starting off, we're going to start off with the pros and cons. We're going to start off with the pros. Now, the FFAR is the fastest firing assault rifle with a staggering 800 RPM, which has a closer comparison to the HVK-30 at a staggering 722 RPM. And on top of that, it can even beat out the Kuda, the Weevil, and the Razorback, and it also shares the same damage as the ICR-1 and the HVK-30, killing in the staggering 4 shots. Also, since it has the highest fire rate, it has a great time to kill potential, and that is really amazing. And on top of that, the ICR-1 is one of the strongest assault rifles in the game, counting out, not including the DLC weapons, but the ICR is very powerful, including the HVA and the HVK-30. But if you get all the shots right on with the ICR-1, it's monstrous. Especially since it's like the ACR in my opinion, because it has great accuracy, hip fire, and all that. It's just such a great weapon. And on top of that, since the FFAR can beat out the Kuda and the Weevil and the Razorback, the Kuda is one of the strongest SMGs in the game besides from the VMP, and the Razorback is also strong. So it's just like, wow, it's really amazing. Now jumping off to the cons. Now, cons is not too much of them, but it's just slight stuff. Starting off with, since it has a faster fire rate, after those 4 shots, the gun bounces up, so the recoil is very bad. And I feel like that's one of the the downfalls of the weapon. But if you get those 4 shots right then and there, it's monstrous. You'll take out the enemy just like that. But if you miss it, you might end up getting destroyed by somebody else who has a better weapon, just due to the fact that it has a high recoil if you miss those 4 shots. And then the next thing is not too bad. You can solve it with extended mags, but the low amount of ammo it has. It starts you off with 30 rounds, and since it has a very fast fire rate, those 30 rounds could just go just like that. So you have to find yourself reloading a lot. So, and especially in certain gunfights, so you will end up seeing yourself dying in certain gunfights. So that's why you have to, every time you get a lot of kills, you have to reload and then jump into it. But extended mags will help out a lot. Now, jumping off to the attachments that I use quick draw, so I could aim in straight away once I do the running, and on top of that, I use foregrip, so it could be less recoil, and that's when it helps out with the recoil. It still has a lot of recoil throughout those shots, but it will help out that recoil right away. Now, moving on to the secondary that I use the RK5, just to use it. You don't really have to use the RK5, but I use it because it's one of the best. It's one of the best sidearms in the game, secondary weapons besides from the DLC weapons. And then on top of that, I use a lethal. I use a trip mine. Now, I was using a trip mine because I was playing hardpoint, but you can use trip mine if you want to use hardpoint, any objective-based game mode. But you don't really need to use. You can use a frag grenade, C4, whatever. So that's very optional on how you want to do it. Now, moving on to perk 1. Oh yeah, tactical. You can use any tactical if you want. You can replace the lethal with the tactical. It all depends on how your playstyle is. The lethal and the tactical don't really matter too much. Now, moving on to perk 1. Now, perk 1, what I use for perk 1, I use flat jacket. The reason I use flat jacket, I used it for hardpoint or just objective based game modes, because people like to throw flashes and grenades and things like that. So flat jacket will come in handy anytime you really want to. You don't really need flat jacket. It's up to you if you really want to use it. So just decide at your own risk if you want to use it. You can take it off, you can put it in. It's really up to you. And then I use fast hand. The reason why I use fast hand, because you can throw your lethals and things a lot faster. It all just depends. Like I said, I was using it for objective base, for base game modes, objective base, like I said, domination, whatever. So it all depends on what you want to do with that. But since you can aim in fast, I think you can aim in faster with it. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I forgot, because I haven't played Black Ops 3 in a while. But I use fast hands because I can throw my lethals and things a lot faster. So that's very good for objective based game mode. Now, moving on to perk 3, I use blast suppressor. Blast suppressor is mainly used in a lot of game modes, especially playing S&D or any other game mode if you don't want to see people on the map. But if it's not S&D, people don't usually see themselves. They don't really pay attention to the map like that, and really pay attention to the wider thing when you jump to notify you. But you can use that at your own risk. But I technically use it because I love blast suppressor, and I hate hearing the thruster when I'm jumping in the air. And then last but not least, I use I use Dead Silence. Dead Silence is useful, especially when you play S&D, but people like the sound horn a lot in Black Ops 3, but Dead Silence is useful because, you know, people can't hear your footsteps, but it's up to you if you want to use it. When you're playing loud game modes like Domination and things like that, it don't really matter if you have it or not, but it can also play a big role for people who want to camp in buildings and shit, if they want to sound horn and hear you coming from the back. So Dead Silence can be very, very useful if you want to use that. It's really up to you. And then I use, I use the perk 3 in the wild cards. I use the perk 3 slot just so I can use that. So it all depends on you. Now, this class setup is it's very useful to have. Like I said, you don't really have to do it. You can range it around. You can play with it a lot. It can be it can just be useful the way you want to use it. You know, you can mess around with it, see what you like. But I technically like to use this one. I'm going to be removing the lethal pretty soon. But like I said, it all depends on your playstyle. You can use this at your best of ability. It's very fun to use. It's fun. It's very OP, and especially when you use that forward crank, man. It comes in handy, especially with that high recoil. And on top of that, I use Blackjack. I use that just because I wanted to get the challenge, the daily challenges and things like that. So like I said, use this at your own risk. Well, not risk. Use this at your own use. If you want to be creative and stuff, you can mess around with it, change it up how you want it to do. It's all up to you. But that's all I have for this video. I'm going to be bringing you guys a lot more Last of Us videos. I'm going to be bringing some more Last of Us videos for you guys, so stay tuned with that. More Black Ops videos coming soon, and more Call of Duty information and things like that, so stay tuned with that. If you guys like this video, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already, and check out my latest previous videos, and it's going to be great, more videos coming soon. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to bring you guys dope videos. Enjoy life, live it up, keep grinding. See you guys in the next one, and I'm out.
Survivalist.